Good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the June 24, 2021 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting. If you would, please stand and join me for the pledge by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and at this time I open up the floor to public comments. Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 3. And I'll call on Chris Rafferty with the Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority to discuss the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Funding Approval Agreement for CDBG and Home for our fiscal year 2020. Chris?
Good morning, Commissioners. We were notified by HUD regarding a decrease in our program year 2020 CDBG and Home Program Awards. There are minor reductions. However, we still have to go through the process to execute new grant agreements. The decrease for the block grant program was $188. So our award was $1,236,511. Under the home program, our decrease was $118, making our grant $526,241. Now, these corrections were not explained to us in HUD's transmittal letter. However, what they normally do is when Congress awards CDBG funds, then HUD goes through the process to run a formula to distribute the CDBG funds across the country. And the same thing happens with the home program. So it's, again, based on a formula. I can just imagine that there was some technical issues when they ran the numbers, and these small corrections have to be made. So when we went through this process earlier in 2020 and executed the grant agreements, and everything was fine. And again, this is just a technical correction to execute 2 new grant agreements for, again, the home program and the block grant program, addressing these small amounts. Any questions or comments?
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. I'll
Thank
now
you.
call on Bonnie Myers with North Newton Township to discuss the request for a letter of support for their application for a multimodal transportation fund grant. Bonnie? We can't hear you. Oh, we're not getting audio, Bonnie.
She's muted.
All right.
Yes, she's muted.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
There we
We
go.
can hear you now.
Thank you. I have my speakers up the whole way, but I am having trouble hearing you. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate being able to be with you through Zoom. I'm really excited about a project that North Newton Township has been working on. It's been a while since we have sought grant money. Back in 2007, we developed our township park. It's just a 6-acre park, but it is used by the community. At that time, it was about a $300,000 project, and we did that with $50,000 through the county's C2P2 program and another $78,000 through DCNR. Since our park has been developed, it has been used by the community, by the residents. It's been an asset to our community, but also it's been an asset to the Cumberland Valley Rail Trail, whose users stop here, refresh themselves. They can use our restroom facilities here and take a break and enjoy looking out at the agricultural farmland and enjoying the park. Since that time, though, we have noticed that Oakville Road, which is used as the connector between the park and the trail, is a very busy road for this section of the county as a connector road, and it doesn't have shoulders to keep folks safe. So what we are seeking to do is to make a connector path Our shoulders are not wide enough and our houses are so close to the road that we can only get that along one side of the road. So it would need to be a pedestrian path. But we have completed a feasibility study. We have secured easements with those residents that have ground there that are willing to partner with us and to allow the path to go in front of their properties. We have construction site drawings ready to go, and we're ready to go out for grants to do our construction, hoping to have that construction happen next year. So I'm coming to you today to ask for your support for a grant. We've been encouraged by Representative Torrin Ecker to go after a multimodal transportation fund grant. And we're asking for $350,000 from that grant and hopefully be successful there. Stephanie Williams is coming out next week to talk to me and we'll discuss whether we're a good fit for the land partnerships grant and perhaps ask for a few $1,000s there from the county. So that's my request today, is for a letter of support, asking for your support as county commissioners. And if you have any questions, I'd like to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Bonnie?
Bonnie, I think this is a great project. That's a beautiful area out there, especially the Oakville station. You answered the only question I had, and that was the easements. It sounds like they're in order, so thank you.
Thorough as usual. Yeah, nice presentation. Good project.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. We don't have any additional questions.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next, I'll call on Dana Best to discuss Resolution 2021-19 regarding a budget adjustment. Dana? We can't hear you.
Oh, you have to unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So we're requesting to increase $10 million, the American Rescue Plan by $10 million. It is the original budget to set it up. It's an estimate. As the plan is developed, we'll adjust the budget later if needed. However, in the first year, I'm not sure that we'll be spending that much money. So that's the request. Sorry, I got kind of tongue-tied.
Any questions for Dana?
Dana, you said this is an increase of 10 million?
Well, it's not set up at all yet. So it is putting a placeholder in the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Dana? All right, thank you, Dana. And we'll move on then to agenda item number 6, and I'll call on Tammy to discuss contracts and grants.
Thank you, Stacy. Agenda item number 6 is contracts and grants. Roman numeral 1A through C consists of existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county for the following departments: children and youth, and drug and alcohol. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding these agreements?
Did you say A through C?
Hmm.
I don't see a C.
There is not C, it's B, excuse
Okay.
me. Thank you. Any questions or concerns regarding any of these? Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item 6, Roman numeral 2A through J, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases for the county. I'll begin by calling on Stacy Snyder to discuss the contracts for children and youth. Stacy?
Thank you. I'm filling in today, and there are 3 contracts that I will be discussing. The first is Community Service Foundation. This is a request for a 2% or $2.33 increase to the READY program, which is a day treatment schooling program, as well as a 15.07% or $20 increase to their foster care program. The agency is agreeable to the increases based on the following. They do accept and work with more difficult youth. The increases to their foster care program does include training for foster parents, and the increases to their operating expenses include salaries to hire and retain qualified personnel. Any questions about the Community Services Foundation? All right, moving on to Kids Peace National Centers. Kids Peace is requesting increases to their programs, which include shelter, residential, and foster care services. The increases range from 2.75% to 15.62%. One program is decreasing in rate 3.34% due to their state maximum being lower than their requested rate. The agency is agreeable to the increases based on the following. No significant increases occurred since fiscal year 16-17, and prior to that, there were no increases since fiscal year 12-13. They've negotiated several increases with the agency to keep them at or below the state maximum allowable and to avoid any and all county dollar costs. And there has been a significant increase to provider liability insurance coverage, which we'll be hearing that from a lot of providers. There is also an increase in administrative costs and program enhancements, increasing in staff development and trainings, and an increase due to facility upgrades to enhance safety and to accommodate telehealth. Any questions about Kid Peace National Centers? All right, moving on then to Justice Works Youth Care Corporation. Justice Works is requesting a 1.3% increase to their Why Try and Just Care programs, increasing them from $77 an hour to $78 an hour. They are requesting a 20% increase to their community services program. However, we do not utilize that program currently. The agency is agreeable to increases based on the following. They do use this for youth with truancy issues and overall family concerns, which keeps the family intact and avoids placement at times. The program is utilized by the school districts as well as part of their truancy services, and we can keep continuity of care. They also have not requested an increase since fiscal year 17-18, which was also a minimal increase. Any questions about Justice Works? Annie?
All right. Thank you, Stacy. I'll call on Ben Boyer to discuss the contract for CNRC. Ben?
Morning, Commissioners. I just have one contract to discuss. This is a new contract we have. This was with another staffing agency. As many as you know, that's our biggest challenge yet is still staffing. This one is A+ Staffing LLC. Their rates are right in line with many of the other agencies we have as far as within the range and the average of what we pay for RNs, LPNs, and CNAs for other agencies. Is there any specific questions?
Questions? Thank you, Ben.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'll now call on Stacy Snyder again to discuss the contracts for the Commissioner's Office. Stacy?
Yeah, so the MOU that we have on the agenda today is a second amendment or addendum to the MOU that was put into place in 2016. This addendum specifically changes the payment schedule for the RFID project that was outlined in the first addendum, which was agreed upon in 2018. This changes again that payment schedule, and it also extends the project to July 21 of 2021. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Stacy. Next, I'll call on Eric Radnovich to discuss the contract for the District Attorney's Office.
Good
Eric?
morning, Commissioners. The contract before you is a $28,000 contract with Bodie Cellmark for DNA support. And this contract is covered through a Covered L Forensic Science Improvement Grant.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Eric. I will now call on Ryan Simon to discuss the contract for drug and alcohol. Ryan?
Good morning, Commissioners. In the state of Pennsylvania, whenever someone gets a DUI, they're required to have an evaluation called a court reporting network evaluation. And in Cumberland County, those evaluations are done through the Drug and Alcohol Commission. And over the last several years, we've contracted with several individuals to help relieve our case management staff from having to do those evaluations. And we would like to add Sally Kraus to our list of contractors beginning in July. And she would be working at the same rates as what our current contractors are. Any questions?
Thank you, Ron. Next, I'll call on Dana Best to discuss the contract for finance. Dana?
Good morning. This is a contract with Huggins Actuarial Services. This is the annual actuarial analysis of our workers' comp self-insurance fund. They will determine the required minimum balance, an estimate of the outstanding liabilities, and the rates for next year. It's a $209 increase from last year, or 4.2%. And this is paid from the workers' comp plan assets. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? No. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Darren Beige to discuss the contract for IMTO. Darren?
Morning, Commissioners. I'm here today asking you for the approval of the wireless WAN maintenance and service contract. This is provided by NetTrepid. This is just our standard support and maintenance for the wireless infrastructure, which connects all the buildings together. This is $40,259.97 with a standard increase of $2,500 from last year. Any questions?
Questions? No. Okay, thank you, Darren. I will now call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the contracts for liquid fuels finance. Kirk?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. The first one is a change order with J. Folkrod and Sons for an amount of $118,051. This change order is large, without a doubt. Why we need this change order, as we've worked on this bridge, and we're removing wood sheeting from the bridge and finding some additional deterioration in the bridge. It wasn't visible, and just looking from the exterior of the structure. If you recall, this is our last covered bridge in the county. It is on the National Register of Historic Places. It provides an important transportation artery in Hopewell Township, carrying about 250 motorized vehicles per day, but numerous horse and buggies, pedestrians in an agriculture area. So it is a bridge that we're investing in. One of the issues that we continually have with this bridge is overweight vehicles and trailers using it that it shouldn't be. And it turns out to be an enforcement headache. There's no police except for state police. They have bigger fish to fry. We have residents to report a lot of the issues going on, but by the time, we get it, the perpetrators are gone. So what we've integrated into this project, we worked with the township to have some new approach work done, some curbs, and some changes in our radius of the approach radius of the roadways, so that it really prohibits these larger vehicles from using the bridge and keeps it to just standard vehicles and bicyclists, pedestrians, and also horse and buggies to use it in the future. So we look at the cost increase, it is high, but it's something really, to me, it's an insurance policy in the future of the bridge. Without that, we'd see a large investment and likely have continued damage to it by those overweight vehicles. So total cost of the change order is $118,051. We have our money in our capital improvement program for that. Again, it's a combination of those improvements at the approach roadways to prohibit larger vehicles, and also additional work to the structure of the bridge, timber improvements to it to make sure that it's structurally sound.
Commissioners have any questions for Kirk? Thank you, Kirk.
Okay, I think there's a couple more in there too. We got a whole list of here today. So we also have one with, we also have one with HRG. It's an addendum to their contract to provide engineering services for the ramp bridge. That's $4,635. That reflects the additional effort required for them to survey and engineer the different approaches to the bridge. Okay, and then the final change order is for Sample Bridge. We recently completed that. As the board is aware, we had some final closeout negotiations with the contractor. Our final change order in this would close out the project, and it's for $52,550.
Good job on that, Kirk.
Thank you, Kirk.
Yep, thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you, Kurt.
Yep.
Next, I call on Susan Carbo to discuss the contracts for early intervention and the contract for intellectual and developmental disabilities. Susan?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. There are 4 contracts there for early intervention. The first one, International Corporate Training and Marketing, is our renewal contract for 21-22, and it is an increase of $1,747 over last year's contract where we started. Second contract, Health Pro Pediatrics, is actually an amendment for this fiscal year, 2021. It is an increase of $3,003, and it is for therapy services for the children. Third contract, Jill Bricker, is also an amendment for fiscal year 2021. It is an increase of $4,000, and it is for services for the children. And the fourth contract for early intervention is Jenna Vandervelden. It is a new contract for fiscal year 21-22. Her contract is going to start at a decrease of $4,840, and she provides physical therapy for the children. For the ID contract, Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities contract that is listed there, Geneva Worldwide, Inc. It is our language interpretation contract. It is a new contract for fiscal year 21-22, and it is a decrease of $3,000 over last year's contract. Any questions?
Thank you, Susan. I will now call on Travis Shank to discuss the contracts for the prison.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Travis?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. The first contract is with the PA Counseling Service. They are the service we contract with providing for our special offenders. The amount of the contract is $8,840, which is our portion of the contract that we share with MHIDD. The rate has not changed from 2020. Any questions? The second item on the agenda is an MOU with the Department of Navy to house individuals who are under investigation, convicted, or AWOL until arrangements can be made by the Navy to escort them to a military facility. Any questions?
Any questions, Commissioners? Hearing none. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you. Have a great day.
As well. That concludes our contracts and grants. I will now turn the meeting back over to Stacy Snyder.
Stacy, before we move on, I'm sorry, I have a question on the item for the library. First one, which is least important, anticipated meeting date says 6/24/28. Is there some significance to that? Or should that be 6/24/21?
I'm sorry, on which?
The library system?
Oh, yeah, I have a feeling that might just be a typo.
All right.
I am a proponent of planning well into the future. I don't believe that I looked at it 2028. Thank you for catching that.
Okay. More important though, am I to read this MOU properly? It states that this project is to be completed by July 21st of this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the $100,000 will be released once it's complete.
We will actually prepare, once the MOU is signed, we'll prepare a payment of $40,000 for the 2 components that they had previously completed.
Okay.
And then the remainder will be paid once the presentation is made in July. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that during my
I'd like to thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 7, I'll call on Brent Durham to discuss the Cumberland County surplus property and the plans with Municipal. Brent.
Yes, good morning, everyone. First is a resolution adopting a surplus property disposal policy. This policy before you has one minor change from what was previously adopted. We'd like to change the amount of time an item must be posted on the county's internal repurposed web page prior to selling. Previously, we posted items for 180 days prior to selling, and we're proposing changing this to 60 days. In researching our data, we realized that very few items get repurposed within the county after that 60-day mark. This change will also allow us to keep inventory moving, therefore less storage would be required and less chance of loss of value in items. Do you have any questions on that portion? Next up, we're seeking approval to sell items deemed as unusable for other county departments per the disposal policy for a 6-month time frame beginning July 1st and ending December 31st, 2021. These items will be sold using the online auction platform Municipbid. And then lastly, we're asking permission to sell 2 vehicles. The first vehicle is a 1990 emergency hazmat response unit. This vehicle is being retired due to multiple mechanical and electrical issues. The next vehicle is a 1990 Mack roll-off truck. This vehicle was used as part of a recycle program. The recycle program has closed and therefore the truck is no longer needed. Also, a little data that I'd like to share with you in regards to using Municipbid. We've been using this platform now for 6 months. In that time frame, we've sold 237 items along with 12 vehicles, and we brought in just shy of $32,500. Comparing that over the last 9 years, we sold 6 times as many items, 1,400 items, 17 vehicles, and 5 buses, and brought in $21,000. This new method of selling these items is much more successful, and it's considerably more efficient for us as well. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much, Brent.
Thank you.
I know I have a Municipbid account and I keep looking so that I can buy a filing cabinet and I miss the window. So this might be my chance to get that filing cabinet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, I'll call in Holly Sherman to discuss the Cumberland County Property and Liability Insurance Recommendation Memo. Holly.
Good morning, Commissioners. We had spoken to you a couple of weeks ago regarding the renewal process for the county's property and liability insurance, which expires. The new term is July 1st of 2021. We've gone to we did a full marketing, received 3 bids back. Our recommendation is to renew with Travelers, who had offered us a 2.3% increase. In addition to that, we are recommending to increase the county's umbrella coverage from 2 million to 5 million for a total increase of 3.96%, effective July 1. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next, I'll call in Commissioner Eichelberger to discuss the Susquehanna Area Regional Airport Authority reappointment recommendation. Commissioner?
Right, as you'll recall, we had a meeting recently with our friends, the management team at Sarah, and it did come to our attention that we have one of our appointees, the appointed seats has met the expiration date, actually exceeded a little bit, and that's Don Geiswett, Middlesex Township. He's seeking to be reappointed, has expressed his interests to us, and this would be a reappointment for another 5-year term. Would take effect immediately on the 28th once action is taken, and it would expire end of year 2025. So we'll deal with that Monday, I presume. If there's any questions or concerns on that, Don's been a pretty good attendee and has advocated for the county very well liked on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Eichelberger. Agenda item number 10 is discussion of capital project request, and both Darren Bache and Adam Green are here to present capital projects for IMTO, and I'm calling Darren Bache first to discuss the wireless LAN controller upgrade.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners again. I'm here asking for the approval of the wireless LAN controller upgrade project. This, as opposed to the previous wireless project that I just presented or contract, this is referring to all the wireless within all the buildings, not outside, that connects everything together. So everything inside that people connect to. This project is basically necessary because the current system that we have is over 10 years old. There's no more security updates available for the existing system. And this is bringing us up to the latest technology, which provides faster speeds, better coverage, and all that. The project is $92,000 over 5 years. And it also includes, it's not just a single device, it's redundant wireless controllers, new switches, the maintenance and support that covers all of that. New wireless access points to provide greater coverage in areas that we don't have coverage right now within the county. This is a budgeted amount, and I believe that's it. Is there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Darren. Adam is going to be discussing the VEEAM backup for Office 365. Adam?
Yeah, hi, yes. Good morning, commissioners. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that is for Veeam backup. We have recently purchased and are moving into our Office 365 tenant. And part of what does not come with our Office 365 purchase is the way to back it up or a way to recover from any sort of disasters that would happen to our data. So our county data will be, in a lot of cases, stored on the cloud with no backup solution available through the Office 365 platform. We use Veeam today to back up our in-house servers and infrastructure. It's a wonderful product, and they offer a solution that integrates with Office 365 to allow us to back up those important files into our current infrastructure. It is a separate product from what we have, and the cost is $36,445.50 over 3 years, so $12,148.50 per year. And again, that will allow us to recover files, anything lost through disaster or accidental for our users who keep data on the cloud. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Adam. I think both of those discussions were very thorough. We appreciate it. Next, I'll call on Eric. Next, I'll call on Eric Radovich to discuss the capital project for the forensics lab. Eric?
Good morning, commissioners. The project before you is for a forensic drying cabinet for $27,089.89. It is a climate-controlled cabinet that allows us, again, to expand our ability to collect and preserve latent fingerprints.
Any questions for Eric?
Eric, I don't have a specific question on that purchase, but I am curious, is there a master plan that exists for the lab in terms of its build out and its functionality and what the long-term goals of that are?
Well, in terms of capability, we're not adding any more forensic disciplines. All I'm trying to do is to build on the ones we have to the maximum capacity, but we're not adding anything else to the laboratory currently. So the 6 forensic disciplines we have now is what we're keeping to, because I think it's what we can do effectively and so what we have the most need for. And the only thing I'm really purchasing now are items or programs to enhance what we already have.
Oh, that's not exactly what I asked, but that's we can talk about that offline. I'm curious if there is a master plan document that talks about what your goals are in terms of capacity, and you're saying right now you're not adding additional functionality.
Correct.
So
I don't. To be fair, I don't have a written master plan. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question. I apologize. Okay. I did not. I don't have a written master plan. No.
Okay, so we don't have any real ability to plan financial projections into the future on this. It seems we just kind of take it piecemeal. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, I take advantage of most of the purchases I make for the laboratory are on the Coverdell Forensic Science Improvement Grant. This happens to be that it's not, but typically I do everything that's grant driven.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question, please.
Sure.
So I can see that the request form is to purchase this forensic climate chamber.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so we have 6 pages of things to purchase. So the forensic climate chamber is $20,613.10. But the request is for $27,089.89. So are you also buying all of these other things like the replacement activated carbon filter cartridge and the universal radiation unit to break up DNA chains?
Correct. These are all pieces and parts. It's
Okay.
like the cabinet's the base piece, and then you equip it the way you want to. So we went to the option sheet and picked out the things that we needed, and that's what you add to it. That's what's all part of the
Okay.
plan.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear. Thank you.
Sure, I understand.
Any additional questions for Eric? Okay, thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 11, I'll call on Keith Brenneman to discuss authorizing the solicitor to execute settlement stipulations for assessment appeals. And commissioners, please note that this is an action requested item today. Keith?
Commissioners, the authorization I'm looking for today allows me to execute 3 stipulations, all of which deal with hotel properties in the county. I think 2 are in Shippensburg Township and 1 is in the borough of Carlisle. These stipulations have already been approved by the taxing districts, the school districts, the township, and the borough, as well as the Board of Assessment Appeals. And if you wouldn't mind authorizing that today, I appreciate that.
All right, let's get a motion on the floor.
Can I ask a question?
I think we typically put the motion and second and then open for questions, or is that, doesn't matter?
I don't know if he needs to have a question on this form of them or what. So I would refer to.
Yeah, the reduction in the assessment, as I'm reading this, it's due to or because of the CLR. It's currently at 92.3%. Is that how these are always done? Reassess or when they're challenged?
They first challenge the assessment amount, and when there's a settlement, as there is in this case, they take the reduced agreed upon assessment amount and then determine what the indicated fair market value is using the common level ratio factor for the year in which the settlement takes place.
That answers my question. Thank you. I'll make a motion that we authorize the solicitor to execute settlement stipulations for assessment appeals filed by Ekta Hospitality, Gri Ramanam, and Induju Hospitality. That's presented.
I will second that motion.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, agenda item number 12 is Commissioners' Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, handful of items. Last week was our meeting for MHIDD Advisory Council. So just a brief summary, on the IDD, intellectual disabilities and early intervention side, Sue reported out they continue to open programs into the post-mitigation phase. That, of course, makes the job easier and meets essential needs more effectively. So certainly pleased with that. There was considerable discussion regarding the provider staffing crisis. It's been in place for a while and reached more profound levels in recent time. No obvious solutions to that right now. The questions still remain regarding the state budget, so a lot of concern and interest on that, as to be expected. The QPR, the anti-suicide training, continues to be rolled out. This month through the 14th. They've trained 23 individuals, and I believe there's more training scheduled for the remainder of the month. That continues to press forward as the need exists there. On the MH side, Sue addressed the contracts a little while ago. The report also, the advisory committee report also mentions that the case levels continue at very elevated levels, very high levels. Enormous challenges there, some COVID related, some more systemic related to the growth of the county. It's been an ongoing challenge that's reached acute levels in recent months. Also, crisis intervention training. Mid-July, they're going to be bringing in, the South Central region's bringing in Crisis Intervention Training International organization to do train-the-trainer sessions on de-escalation. That'll be hosted here in Cumberland County, and that's going to be aimed at our MH crisis team as well as law enforcement. So high hopes for that. Obviously, great need for that as well. Nominating committee will meet this Friday in regards to identifying new advisory board members as part of the regular cycle of turnover on that board. The recycling board meeting was canceled for lack of agenda items. I am meeting a little later today with Kirk and Justin to discuss some possible reconfiguration options for the recycling function. That area continues to change and we need to be adaptive to that. So I'll keep you apprised of what comes out of that. And lastly, Katie, we had our substantial meeting earlier this week for Policy and Planning Committee. We are finalizing the charter of that committee. This involves a revamping and upgrading of the function of that committee to make it more forward-looking, more nimble in terms of handling legislative and regulatory issues that affect us on economic development. So lots of good work happening on that front. That's everything I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Eichelberger. Commissioner Fauci.
I am wondering, listening to Commissioner Eichelberger's comments, did our letter regarding mental health funding go out?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't have a lot. This is one of those weird weeks where there's just haven't had any meetings. LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Committee, is on hiatus for the month of July. Use the library. Boy, it's just a fantastic place, and there's so much available to prevent summer slide. That's really all I have.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Fauci. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Thank you, Stacy. 2 reports. One is CapCog. We met Monday evening this week. Just want to let you know, anybody who hasn't been into the New Hampton Township Municipal Campus, you need to go. It's outstanding. They did a great job. And that was the first time we had a meeting there. Our guest speaker was Congressman Scott Perry. He gave us a good legislative update, quite informative, and his concern really is nothing new, but the fact that our federal government keeps spending money that it doesn't have. And this eventually is going to come back to haunt us. There's disagreement with infrastructure funding and spending. Disagreement is within both major parties, he said. How that will be resolved, we don't know yet. CapCog will be having its annual auction on July 21st, and they're planning their picnic and golf event for Friday, September 20th at Armitage Golf Facilities in Hampton Township. And CapCog is waiting response on a $2.8 million SAFER grant that they applied for. And this would be a grant to assist municipal fire companies and EMSs for staffing. Conservation District met Tuesday morning. Budget is in good shape. Final update from the tree sale is that 14,700 trees were sold to 468 customers. We had a good discussion on the cover crop program. As you know, farmers can apply for payment, it's like $30 per acre for no-till, $20 per acre for minimum till. We had 2,700 acres covered in 2019, 2020, trying to bump that amount up. Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection will have again 50% matching funds for this endeavor. We're hoping to get more cover crop out there. The interest is there. It's just that the funding isn't yet. We're also seeing a lot more farmers get involved with the best management practices. We're seeing an increase in nutrient management plans, conservation plans. And the board did request and approve the recommendation, which will be coming to us later this year, to add an additional Chesapeake Bay technician. The funding is available. The only cost the county would have would be for like a laptop available for this new technician. And it would also include the best management practices, assistance in creating conservation plans, also help for farm inspections. And if this position is approved, it would start January 22. So we will be seeing that sometime later this year as a salary board item. And that's it.
One question, could we pass the date of the cotton auction onto our facilities? I know we've had discussion in the past about, the possibility of finding things there. There's some real finds in that.
Yeah. So that Mr. Long.
Thank you, Commissioner Deeply.
Sure.
I would like to report that an executive session was held on June 23rd, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. Is there any additional business that needs to come before the board today?
No, but Stacy, I forgot one thing during the Conservation District meeting. Your name was brought up as far as an attracted to cicadas.
Yes, cicadas like me, and I wish that I could have a redo on the moment where one landed on my hand. It was not a pretty sight. There was arm flailing and some loud sounds coming out of my mouth.
YouTube.
Yes, fortunately, nobody was recording. So yes, I actually was able to see several projects that were completed in the last couple of years, and I was also able to witness a robotic milking. I think I mentioned that at the last workshop. So it's just fabulous to be able to get out with staff and really see what they do on a day-to-day basis and see some of the good work that's being employed across the county.
They appreciate it
For citizens, so
I'll
yes.
bet they're fix you up with a cicada suit.
Okay, that sounds great. Maybe some gloves. They landed on my arms and on my back after that, and I was okay with that because they were not making contact with me. But that one that landed on my hand, that was a rough thing. So they landed on Carl as well, and Carl was absolutely fine. He just grabbed them and moved them. I embarrassingly, Lori, Stacy, you've got one on your arm. Let me get that for you. And I did not have to then touch them. So I'm not a bug person. So got 17 years before I have to do that again. Thank you. So with no additional business that needs to come before the board today, we are adjourned. Thank you. And I have 2 issues to report.